Hey everyone, I hope you guys are all doing really well today. Welcome to the video. Today I wanted to talk about some books that I find very aesthetically pleasing and I think they look very nice on the bookshelf. These books may also make very nice gifts because it is December. For those of you who are looking to find editions of books that might make great gifts to people. This video is only going to be about the kind of physical appearance and the cover of the books, and I'm not going to be going into detail about the actual content of the book. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to get started with the first book. This video is going to be a mix of contemporary fiction as well as classic fiction and classical fiction, which is the ones I have to show mostly are about Greek mythology ones. So yep, hope you enjoy. So the first book I wanted to talk about is this beautiful edition of If We Were Villains. It is a hardback edition with black sprayed edges as well as a orange ribbon. So this is what this first one looks like. It's one of my favorite books. I have this one actually in paperback and decided to get this hardcover edition when it came out in October. Perfect little spooky read for Halloween. It's got really nice end pages as well. I think it does fit into the dark academia vibe that the story tells. So this is what the back looks like, and if I take out the book sleeve, it's just got an orange cover. You, I believe, still can get the signed edition by ML Rio. This is actually the only signed edition book that I own, and I'm very happy with it. This next book, if anybody has been on Bookstagram or BookTube or BookTok, I'm sure you guys would have heard of this book. It is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. It is a retelling of the Iliad from the perspective of Patroclus. And here is this 10th anniversary edition. It is a hardcover book with gold foiling on both the front and the back cover. And then the end pages also contain this gorgeous gold foiling on the front as well as the back, and the white ribbon. So this story would be a really nice story for someone who perhaps hasn't really dived into Greek mythology but wants to in a more accessible way. It isn't as dense or as heavy as the Iliad, but tells a really emotional story of a young boy who grows up, meets Achilles, and is thrust into the 10 years of the Trojan War. This next book is another Greek mythology book. This cover is the 75th anniversary edition of Mythology by Edith Hamilton, with illustrations by Jim Tierney. So this book focuses mostly on Greek and Roman mythology with a little bit of Norse mythology in the end. Although if you were interested in any other mythologies other than Greek and Roman, I would not recommend this book. It is 95% focused on Greek and Roman mythologies. It's a pretty comprehensive guide on the stories of the gods and the heroes and most of the very famous myths, with a little bit of Norse mythology at the end. This is almost a little bit like a textbook where it will list out all the gods, what they represent, and why they were important. It is a super beautiful textbook with illustrations on a lot of the pages and larger illustrations. So this book is again, I think, really gorgeous book. It is a translation of Sappho's poetry. Sappho is one of the only female Greek writers that we know of, and she wrote lyrics and poems, a lot of which were lost, and there's actually only one full poem that is in full, and the rest are fragments, hence Fragments of Sappho. So this book has the Greek writing on one side and the English on the other. I think this book would be a great book for someone who wants to read Greek literature by an ancient Greek author and is just starting out to dabble in Greek literature. If there are any words or references to myths that would be obscure or it'd be kind of unfamiliar, there is a little glossary at the back with notes explaining lines and explaining who the characters are. And yeah, it's not long or dense at all. I think it's a super interesting and fun and great read that anyone can really dive into. The next two books I wanted to talk about are not necessarily Jane Eyre and Pride and Prejudice, but the Oxford World Classic series and the Penguin Classic series. These two series are my favorite editions of classic novels that are published. And I think that these editions look really nice on the bookshelf, and the cover art for most of these classics look really nice as well in these editions of the books. So the Oxford World Classics have the white spine and the Penguin Classics have the black spine. In terms of pricing, they are usually in the $10 to $20 range, depending on how thick the book is. In terms of readability, I think the Oxford World Classics just is a little bit easier to read. It's more of a floppier book, and the pages are a bit thinner, which I enjoy. I know some people don't like very thin pages. In that case, I would go with the Penguin Classics. The next series of books I wanted to talk about is William Shakespeare. For anyone who is a fan of Shakespeare, I think that the RSC Modern Library editions of Shakespeare plays are some of the nicest that I've ever enjoyed. These are paperback. I prefer paperback books over hardcover books usually. I know there are a ton of super beautiful hardcover Shakespeare editions. In terms of readability, I do prefer paperbacks, which is why I'm recommending this edition. I think the covers are all designed really nicely. They all have a border with a picture as the background and then the title. This one is King Lear. The plays inside are organized really well, line by line. They have footnotes at the bottom, and for those who do want some context on the texts, maybe they are studying Shakespeare, these editions provide introductions, some historical context about the text, as well as some more notes at the back about the play. The last book I wanted to talk about is another Shakespeare book. This is a collection of William Shakespeare tragedies. This is the cover, here's the spine, and here is the back. So this edition covers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of the tragedies that William Shakespeare wrote. So this book has, I'm not sure what you would call this, kind of a flexible cover. And it's got the beautiful Ophelia painting for both the front and the back and pages. It's a very thick book. So this book I think looks great on the bookshelf and would be perfect for someone who really wants to have all of the plays in one place, in a similar format, and doesn't want any of the historical context or any of the notes. This is strictly just lines and lines and lines of play.